Mum and Son on the Money podcast with Lorraine and Travis from Happy Days Accountants.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Mum and Son on the Money, the Happy Days Accounting podcast with Lorraine and Travis once again. Hello, guys.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, how are we doing today?
Now, this is a special episode because we have guests in the studio. Please welcome from Harry's Rainbow, our local charity here in Milton Keynes. We have Dominique. Hello.
Hi.
And Allison as well. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Brilliant. So the reason you're here is because you guys have just completed a very important challenge, haven't you?
We have indeed. So we had the MK Festival of Running, which we've all taken part of. I think we spoke about it on the last podcast a little bit, where Lorraine has been going through the grueling training of running a 10k. Well, I think it's clear by the medal around her neck. It all went very well. and that, again, we have Harry's Rainbow in here today. They were who we were running for and supporting. So, I mean, how did you guys feel the run went in the end with the event and everything you put on?
Oh, it was just incredible. So, as I think most people know, Milton Keynes now, it's Harry's Rainbow 15th anniversary. So, Adette, our CEO and founder of Harry's Rainbow, set me a challenge in September, and she said, as it's our 15th anniversary, Allison, can we get 150 runners? And I was
That's
like,
a heck of a challenge.
it was. I was like, are you joking?
You bossed it.
We
You totally
absolutely
bossed
did,
Did
yeah.
you have to start turning people away in the end because there was too many people coming to support
Yeah,
the
well,
charity?
as a charity, you never turn anybody away. So I was always like, you can still run for us, but unfortunately, you can't come back to the Midsummer Tap because obviously we had the certain capacity there. But we got over 170 people sign up to run for our bereaved community, and you guys were part of that. So thank you so much.
It was amazing. When we were going around the run, there was two main charities there that you see running, and Harry's Rainbow would see a runner, like you'd kind of overtake or be overtaken by a couple of people, and there's one of them you can guarantee had Harry's Rainbow top on.
I don't think we overtook anybody, did we? I think
There was a couple.
but
I love in your head you were visualising that.
I'm proud of my medal because I ran the whole way 10k, even though there was 2.5k of uphill at the end from Willow Lake to Campbell Park.
That's
what
the
a killer.
hardest bit.
I'd done no hill training and it killed me, but I kept running, didn't I? Slowly, but I kept running and running. And then we got to the beacon in Campbell Park at the top, and you had a 500 metres back to the Escape building. And I thought, right, I'll try this front, I'll do my best to sprint back, but the wind was against us. So going right over there, so it was only the last finish line, I sprinted. I did it. I was so chuffed. That's my longest run I've ever done, and
in good time as well. The aim was about an hour and 25 minutes we were aiming for, and I think you finished it in an hour and 12 in the end.
Wow.
43 seconds.
And 40,
Incredible.
yeah.
And I got a little video of the two of you coming in as
We
well.
spotted us quickly there on your video. But
Yeah.
Travis done it 1 second quicker than me. I've just put that in.
Well,
That's mean.
we say this.
Just put
If
it
you
out
look
there.
at the results, I finished a second earlier, but if you actually look at the timing chips, you were a second quicker. But let's not forget, you guys joined in the race as well. You didn't just put on the event and kind of leave.
We
You done
did
a run
join
as well?
in. We did the 5k, which was a challenge for myself. Having not run for a very long time, and after having twins, I am committed to just before Christmas
Yeah.
completing the 5k.
Twisted her arm.
Alison did join me, and yeah, we did a fantastic run, and it was great to be out there and see so many Team Harry Rainbow shirts and charities that we work with as well running, and it was just the atmosphere to cheer people on. And I mean, we started talking to people running with us and passing people, and I was trying to sign them up for next year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The sun was shining, but it was very windy.
It was, yeah.
And I've got to say, I did the 10k last year. That hill at the end is a nightmare. But what people never talk about is those sneaky little hills on the 5k.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have some, didn't we?
we did, but they're, in comparison to this, I think it's called the Beacon Hill.
Yeah.
that is a tough hill.
It is.
Yeah,
But well
so you
done.
understand how tough. Well, it was
Yeah.
great because Trav gave me full support throughout. He stuck with me the whole way. The way whole through, supporting, pushing me, and that was my Mother's Day present, wasn't
The
it?
race. I forgot to mention the race was on Mother's Day as well. So what better time? I mean, you said you were going to run really slow just so we'd spent extra time together.
I love your relationship. But
I was like a bullet on the first 5K. I couldn't believe how fast I was running.
We used, training. The fastest we ever run was about 6 minutes 30 a kilometre. We come out of the gate and we're doing under 6 minutes a kilometre.
I know.
Absolutely flying.
I did say to you, didn't I? I said on the day you will find that your pace is a lot faster because you just get brought along with everybody else. But just going back to it being Mother's Day, it did make it even more poignant, running for bereaved children, because obviously Mother's Day can be a really challenging day, and especially our founder Adette, she was there with her whole family. They've been doing this run for years, but I think that was the first time she's ever done it with all of them, so all 3 children, and obviously with Harry's face on the back there of everybody's running top, it was very, very special.
I think we should talk about what your charity does, because I think for people listening to the podcast, they might not be from Milton Keynes, they might not be familiar with
really
what you do.
Point.
So can you tell us the story of Harry's Rainbow?
Yes, certainly. So Harry's Rainbow, as I said, we've been founded now for 15 years, but if you go back another 2 years past there to 2009, Harry was a healthy little boy. He went to school on the Friday and then sadly never returned. He died really suddenly and unexpectedly, which was obviously immensely sad for Adette and Lee, but Harry also has a twin sister called Jessica, and obviously overnight he was just taken away, and what they realised was that there's zero support in Milton Keynes and the surrounding areas for any child that has lost a parent or sibling. So for 2 years, Adette and Lee actually did do a 2-hour round trip to get support for Jessica because they knew how important that was. Children may still run around, they laugh, and you think, oh, they're okay, they're managing, but that's what children do. They laugh, they play, but what is going on underneath needs to be addressed as well. So after 2 years, Adette thought this isn't good enough and founded Harry's Rainbow in 2011, and the rest is history. Since that time, we've actually supported over 1,000 children and young people, including their families, because although we register the children, we're a children's family, the whole family do actually get supported by us. So yeah, it's a beautiful charity, and without Adette and Lee founding Harry's Rainbow, all of those children would have had zero support, and sadly.
That's quite sad, because you can't sit down a child and get them to talk on cue, and you have to work and support with them and get the trust so they speak to you and everything, and without that, where would those children be? It's hard, and you take a lot of those issues into your adult life. So you're basically preventing it at an early age, so they can deal with adult life when they get there.
I mean, I've been working for Harry's Rainbow now for nearly 2 years, and the amount of people that have said to me, I really wish you'd been here when I was younger, because this happened to me or that happened to me, and because of that, I've really suffered. And yeah, we're just really thankful. It's obviously very sad why Harry's Rainbow's here, but thankful that Adette and Lee actually did found Harry's Rainbow and is there to support other bereaved children and families.
I still remember, I think the whole story of Harry kind of resonated around Milton Keynes when I was 14 years old, I think, which is funny because all this time later I still remember it all kind of going around the news and happening, and it was really sad news at the time. And then to be turned into something like this is amazing. And I think one thing that we spoke about before, Alison, this is a while back, so you might not remember now, but we discussed the numbers that Harry's Rainbow has helped. So I can't remember how many people was helped in the report, but I remember the kind of thinking that's really upsetting that many kids, have to get this support. But ultimately, they're going through that, whether the charity's here or not, but the phenomenal work that Harry's Rainbow has done is so nice to know it's there for them.
Just so the positive side is that, yes, these children that register with us, they're going through the hardest time, and it's how we can support that little bit of making them realise that yes, they've lost someone, but they still have a way to talk about that person that they've lost. So by sending every child that registers with us a memory box that they can colour, and is that mindset, that mind well-being, I think it's a really big thing at the minute, isn't it? How do children process and regulate? And by sending them a memory box, or we have the caravan retreat that I've just been and spent the weekend down, that we can send them on those retreats so they can experience something away from what they're dealing with, but somewhere where they can deal with that bereavement, and it's giving them those tools that lifelong. So children might register with us and not come with us for 2 years, 3 years, but we're always there. So those rainbow tools that we provide for them at rainbow groups are those kind of foundations that when they do grow up and they kind of can't make sense of things or understand why now, it's supporting them through that future, that their outcome isn't sadly dealing with something that's never been dealt with, that should have been dealt with, if that makes sense.
I think you say with your caravan and your workshops and that, it takes them away from that sad environment of constant reminders and helps them to find some safe. I think it's escapism sometimes. I think when we've got something bad in our life, we always find an escapism.
Yeah.
And that helps them then to share. In the environment all the time, it's really hard to share and talk with people around you.
I think the important thing to remember as well with Harry's Rainbow, the reason why Adette created it the way she did, because it is actually, she's the one who's created all of these different core services that we provide. And we haven't got a main core service of one-to-one counselling, because actually just for children being in a community of other children who are going through the same thing as they are, they don't feel awkward, they don't feel like the odd one out like they might be feeling at school. That is what makes Harry's Rainbow really work, because they may come and they don't talk about their loved one at all. That's not a bad thing, but as Dominique said, they have these rainbow tools which help them open up and talk about their bereavement if they want to. There's no pressure at all. And just going back to those rainbow tools, I mean, I was told by one of our family liaison officers not long ago, one of the children's parents was really struggling and having a hard time, and the child ran up to their room, they got their box of rainbow tools, they came down and they were like, Mum, here, I'll use this will help you. So it's really lovely that there's that support that they're getting in the rainbow groups, but obviously then outside, like you said, that they can come and help them as well. I did just want to say, really importantly, you talked about the numbers, and it's very sad that obviously there are so many, but the truth is there are a hell of a lot more. And one of our big missions this year is to raise even more awareness about Harry's Rainbow, because what we've realised is a lot of people in Milton Keynes, they've heard of us, but they don't know what we do. And so there are so many more bereaved children out there who don't know that we're here, that they can access these services for free. So thank you so much for allowing us to come here and do this. And hopefully, even if just one person listens to this and thinks, I know somebody, or I'm going through that, all they need to do is go on our website and make themselves a self-referral, and we are there for them. And there, as you said, Dominique, there is no cut-off for when you can register, so it doesn't matter how long ago it was you've lost a loved one. If it's a parent or sibling, you can still register with us, because there is no cut-off for grief.
That's the key point, self-referral. So if you know of anybody, please get in contact with Harry's Rainbow. You don't need any formalities, you just contact them and give the support that you need.
There's no doctor's note required, there's no additional referral or anything like that, they're just there. You're all there to help, aren't you?
We are, but likewise you also can be referred. So for example, schools, teachers, healthcare workers, there's also that referral option on our website as well if you need it.
Yeah, that's great.
I think that segues quite nicely into kind of where we want to dive a little bit into kind of Harry's Rainbow, and maybe hopefully give some people some insight that might be looking at starting up a charity or currently running a charity, or any of the other sort of organisation structures out there, just to get a bit of an understanding about what it's really like, or maybe get some insight as to what might help their charity, because obviously while we want to discuss Harry's Rainbow and give a platform for a bit more for Harry's Rainbow, this is also going out there. There's so many charities in Milton Keynes, and one of our goals is to help as many of them as possible ensure that their back end sort of finances and everything like that is structured well, we have good processes in place and good controls, because ultimately without that stuff, you guys could probably attest to that, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing without that in place. So I think, Lorraine, if you want to give a bit of an insight as to the different charities structures to start with, and then we can dive a little bit into Harry's Rainbow and get some insight.
So there's 4 types of organisations. So you have a charity, and you have a CIO, which is a charitable incorporated organisation. You have a CIC, which is a community interest company, and you have a not-for-profit organisation. A not-for-profit organisation is, gets income to fund their mission that they want to do, but they don't have any regulated bodies at all. So like a football club or a little nursery or something like that can be a not-for-profit organisation. Then you have a CIC, which is actually, they are registered with Companies House and HMRC, so they're like a registered business, but they have a mission to give back to the community. So they have a guarantee shares and asset log, so they're not allowed to, any money they make, they're not allowed for it to go into somebody's pocket. It has to go back, so if the business ended or whatever, they have to make sure that it goes back into the mission that they're set up to do. So they've got Companies House regulating them, a CIC regulator, part of Companies House, and HMRC, so they've got a lot of reporting to do there. But it does allow them to trade as well, being a business. Then you have the charity. Everybody knows a charity. Many years. You are regulated by the Charity Commission. You also registered at Companies House and HMRC. So there's a lot of admin with charities. You have a board of trustees, and there's a lot more there. But you gain a trust of people around, and you have to have some sort of charitable purpose, like poverty, health, mental well-being, education, etc. Then you have the modern charity called a CIO, a charitable incorporated organisation. It's a modern term.
What we find with that one is a lot of older charities or older organisations don't realise the CIOs even exist, because they are still relatively new.
Yeah, I think about 5-6 years, something like that, isn't it?
Something around there, but they're brand new, and they're this really nice stepping stone for people to get into a charitable organisation to set up. There's still regulation surrounding it, isn't there?
They're regulated with Charities Commission, so all they do is report. You have to do a full set of accounts that you report to Charities Commission, but there's a lot less admin because you don't have Companies House, HMRC, and also, it's a lot easier to run, and which Harry's Rainbow is a CIO from that experience. So it's just a lighter version of it. It's much more easier to run and enable you, rather than that fear factor of going into a big charity and all that compliance and regulations that you've got. It's a lot easier to run, and and they gain trust, and they get more funding. So charities and CIOs, a trust of funders, and grants and things like that. Whereas CICs are limited on funding applications. There are funds out there to apply for, but not as many as a CIO because of the trading aspect. So there we go. And you as a CIO, it enables a lot of small charities to set up and run. But there's also still the regulations in compliance from our financial point of view. We find charities, CICs, CIOs, not-for-profits come to us in a mess sometimes. So it's useful to understand what your financial processes are, what's required, because some people think the accountant's doing it correctly, and not all the people running organisations are financially experienced and trust an accountant to do what they want. But it's a specialist accounting process, charities and CICs.
Yeah, I think as well, a lot of people might take that. We talk about those 4 main charitable organisation types, and people might take that decision a bit lightly, where they've heard of one and they're just going to set up as one or the other. But that decision just to start off with this is incredibly important, because different organisation types might have availability of different funding, there's different regulation, different reporting requirements, and people may not know what they're getting into. I mean, obviously you guys are proof that a CIO with the lesser reporting requirements can be a really successful, well-known, decently funded charity, or CIO rather, but you haven't got to jump through all the hoops of the charitable reporting, of charity reporting. So people that might go into it and go, I want to be a full charity, it might not be the right choice for them. So I think it's really important just to start off with that, and obviously as we speak with you guys, all of your answers, you're a CIO obviously, so I think it's clear to set that out there. That,
you have to look at what your mission is and what you want going forward, then decide what organisation suits you best, and the reporting requirements there. So, and also sort of because finances are so important, and all of these organisations and often get forgotten at the beginning until they're in trouble or something. So it's so important to think about your finances, take some advice from people, ring people up, talk to people, and going forward, I'm hoping to set up a community page on social media so people can offer advice to everybody, because we find when people start out, you're alone, what do? I don't know what to do here. You've got to wear many hats. And so, it's important to get the right organiser and get confirmation, just chat to people and make sure you're making the right decision at the beginning.
We always say that, don't be afraid to ask professionals questions as well when you're signing up, especially for a charity, because it's such a unique space. It's not one size fits all. Generally your standard kind of accountant will take on a variety of limited companies, sole traders, and they're generally a cut and paste. There might be some slight nuances between industries, but generally they're all kind of treated fairly similarly. Charities, however, in comparison to private organisations, is a completely different ballgame. So we always say make sure you're asking questions, make sure your professionals have experience in charities, CIOs, etc., so that you're getting someone that understands the industry and sector. So I don't know if you guys have any insight to that, when you're trying to find people to work alongside, be that professionals or other, do you find it quite difficult to find the right people?
For myself, I've been with Harry's Rainbow, it'll be a year in June.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So for me, I had a background, you look at my CV, I've worked in day nurseries, I've worked in management, and I've worked in corporate companies, specifically construction and design and build. And I wouldn't say it's a niche thing that just charities struggle with the finances and the reporting. I think that's a big element in any business, so not to take away that. But I think you can get quite focused on the mission or setting up the business and what you're going to sell, the quality, and as a charity, I think you can kind of focus on, we want to do this. You can have really big ideas and that's your motivation. And then you kind of think, the finances, will sort them out as they come in. So for me, when I applied for Harry's Rainbow, I read the job description and I said to my recruiter, I said, I am not finance trained, I've never been finance trained, and this role is finance, but it was the office management role. I'm very good at admin, I'm very good at organising, and I'm very good at, I met everything, and I felt this huge passion looking at the website, doing my research, looking into LinkedIn, Instagram, seeing all the posts. You just had this, I wanted to be in this company, but I did have this real sort of, I'm not financially trained. I've never touched finances. But when you actually look at what you do every day, you spend money, you manage your bank account personally, and then you look into job roles, you're doing petty cash, you're doing Excel, you're managing holidays. That is all a part of what becomes managing a budget, managing income, managing outcome. But I guess it's how you also do it. So having joined Harry's Rainbow on the basis that I didn't have that qualification, I didn't have that full experience, I came into an organisation that had processes in place, that had it organised. It was across the business. And for me coming in, I feel that I probably helped a little bit, because I just took those little pieces away and took them into my own job role. And because that was all there, I could then start to collate it and then focus on learning how it needed to be done. So I felt like I was supporting them in doing the main your main job role, getting out there, fundraising, getting Harry's Rainbow into the community, going and seeing corporates, creating those friends, allowing flows to have the money to go and get the food that they need for the rainbow groups, and so that it wasn't a worry because I'm the one chasing the receipts. I'll go, can I just have that? Or when we have a team meeting, who's set up the lunches and things, and it's all done because it just all feeds into one person, whereas it was all feeding into everyone else. And anyone that was probably an accountant probably would have come in and gone, oh my good grief, it's here, there and everywhere. But now that it's all under one responsibility, I've not changed it, because it's no good me doing it all myself, because you may have to pick up the banking spreadsheet, or you deal with cash when it comes in from events, from collection pots or buckets. So there's an element that we all do, and you do have to talk to your team. You do have to be a communicator, and I can't thank you enough, Lorraine. I mean, there's other. I mean, we work with an accountant as well, and but just picking up that phone and having Lorraine come in and sit with me and go, you're doing it all fine, but you can do this, or did you know that? And I think that's that element of you setting up that kind of community that people can just share. Did you know this works this way? Rather than sitting there going, I'm doing this and it's like boring because I'm doing it via spreadsheet, and I'm doing this and I'm doing A, B, C. Whereas actually you can just go see straight onto your system, onto your software, and
I tell you what,
that's a big part of how we work. We say we're like water. We'll find the quickest route, the easiest and quickest route. We do it. But there was a good point you were saying there. We sort of say to organisations, employ the right person, because you can train them on finance. You need the right person that cares in your organisation. And as you said, we came in and gave you support and training with what you did. And what was really good, you said you had no finance experience, but you came in that job and you embraced so much before I even sat down with you. You've got an idea, you try to work things out, you've got an idea, and it is a bit detective work, but like you say, so important. It's like your home finances. You do it at home. So it's not
I have learned that I ask, how can I break it and how can I fix it? That's kind of like, before I finish any training, you might have taught me something, but I'll always say to someone, how can I fix if I do it wrong? Mm-hmm. And I think that's not having that fear of, I can do this wrong, but I can undo it. Yes. So I love like remove buttons or undo. It's like, as long as I know where that is and I can do it, then
you're all right.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with charities though is that you're frightened almost to take that plunge and have someone to take on the role that you did, because Adette was doing it as a CEO. I was doing it, instead of going out there actually doing the fundraising like I should be. And so you then have to think, well, if we take that gamble and we do get somebody to come in and take on all of those little jobs that we're doing, because Adette's not finance trained, I'm not finance trained, but we were doing it. So the fact that Dominique's come in and she's taken all of those small jobs that then turn into it's a huge job that actually needs to be done right, and if it's done by one person, then it's going to be done better, isn't it? Because there's less room for error.
Everything together within the department, within your organisation, rather than external sources. It becomes very departmentalised and fractured. You need all to be talking together, and it's important, like you say, I want that receipt, I'll grab that.
But it's that in-house person, and for me that role doesn't necessarily have to be fully trained, as long as you've got that support that has that accountancy understanding, and you've got that relationship with the accountancy team, that you can sort it out. Because I could do something wrong, but you almost need that second check or that backup. And it's a case of, if I sent you the report of all the finances at the end of the month, you wouldn't have a clue as to, oh, hang on a minute, why was that spent at Morrison's? Why was that spent at gift tags? What was the merchandise? And it's like you're playing catch up, whereas I would, when I was doing the finances monthly, I would kind of say, well, can you remember spending this on the 10th of the month? And it was like, no. But now, because I'm doing it weekly and I'm dipping into it like daily, I will say, oh, can I have that receipt? And it's more instantaneous. It's more relevant to the day. I'm not chasing months back. And
I've already sent her the receipt for the parking for today.
This just goes to show, when we say about getting those processes in place and getting things set up, how much simpler running an organisation becomes. And I love speaking to you guys about the whole situation at Harry's Rainbow, because it just reiterates what we say about hiring the right person, because a lot of the time you do find there's a mix of finance professionals where some can make it feel, some have it feel like a bit of a job, right? There's no, they don't necessarily get the drive from the organisation they work in. But I mean, you can hear just from speaking to you, Dominique, that like there's so much passion behind the mission of Harry's Rainbow that I can guarantee for the first sort of 10 minutes of this podcast, people probably thought you were the owner or someone in a point of trying to advertise and push out. But it's not. You're an office-based employee, and having the passion behind the organisation mixed with, the passion to do a good job has meant that you are the perfect fit for that role, not necessarily because of a qualification checking in a box sort of thing.
Yeah, and everybody at Harry's... Sorry, I was going to say everyone at Harry's Rainbow, in our small team are just so passionate about what we do. That's why I fell in love with it as well. It's really...
and hence why we're so heavily involved with you as well, supporting you in every way we can possibly.
The whole team's attitude towards the charity and the mission is just infectious. I always say it's dangerous when we see Allison at events, because my wallet always ends up open.
Don't give me that, Rev.
It is, whereas it's such a community, and I think we're all invested in that community, because we all know that there are more children out there. There isn't an official document, there is no recording, there is no statistics of how many children are bereaved or parents have lost children. But we're so passionate about getting out there and getting them on board that we can help and support and create a community for them. Like, we see the flows go out weekly, taking out all the activities that they've got planned, planning summer trips, Christmas trips, and the back end of that, the financial bit and gaining the grants and the corporates. We're just so pleased sometimes when we get that, yes, we're granting you this money, that we can provide the caravan all summer, that we don't have to... We can support families by getting that getaway. They don't have to be in their daily grind in the house where they're having to think about the bills or think about getting the other kids to school.
When you get a grant, it's not just all extra money.
No.
That's a power moment for you. This is what we can do.
And it's also, if you don't get that grant, where's the money coming from? And the retreat is a big example, because that's one of our most expensive outlays, isn't it? And so when that comes through, it's a huge celebration and a huge relief.
I mean, I went down there at the weekend just to make sure that it was ready for our first beneficiaries, and was speaking to the security guy, and he didn't know about, he's in Camber Sands, he didn't know about Harry's Rainbow, and I'm explaining to him, and you could just see his whole heart melt. He had children, and he was like, I'm going to help you, we're going to get this done. I couldn't get the door open. So for me, a beneficiary turning up on the first time, not getting the door open because it's seized of the sea salt, I wouldn't think of that, but that's what goes into making sure that every beneficiary goes down there. They've got tea, coffee ready there, they've got pots and pans. It's just a case of turn up and enjoy.
That's why it leads up my accountancy head on, but how financial data is so important. So your past financial data, knowing what your funders are, where your money's come from, your present financial data, but the future financial data. I found some people have a particular organisation recently have just joined us, but their funding ends. So they'd lived off this funding, ignorant to the future, and nobody had had a foresight to look at where will we be when that funding ends? What will we do? And now they're in a situation of, making stuff redundant and trying to regather and regroup. And it's such a shame, but that is how important financial data is. You're aware, if you don't have that funding come in, what we're going to do? How can we? Got to have a plan B all the time, because charities are so important for what they do for our world, that we can't afford to lose them.
And that's where your grants come in, like winning those grants. It's not about the here and now, it's how that is going to cover the next 6 months. We get a grant for the year, we know that, but you're always constantly thinking of the next year. And Odette is very good at, we sit down regularly, monthly, and we discuss the future of Harry's Rainbow. We discuss objectives, we discuss our strategies and where we want to develop. And last year it was pretty much the fundraising and the focus that was there, whereas now this year, 2026, our focus is our beneficiaries, it is our registrations, it is reaching out to young people. We support children and young adults up to the age of 25, so it is really kind of getting literature out to young students and getting them to self-refer themselves, because they are on social media, they do have phones, and it's just we're looking at that aspect and how we can invest in that, but we're constantly always looking at the cash flow, looking at the grants, monitoring how much we spent from grants, transferring from restricted accounts, so that you know that your grant is allocated to those objectives, that you're being able to tell your funder we have spent this money where you have.
That's an important point that people don't realise, that you have to report to your funders and you have to manage your finances correctly in order to prove where you've spent the money.
Yeah.
And that's part of the charity finances that a lot of people don't realise.
I think a key word you used in there as well was moving from restricted accounts and restricted funds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably an aspect that someone first coming into a charity may not fully understand. Obviously, when a charity gets money, it's not, or a CIO, it's not always free reign for them to spend on whatever project they want.
No.
A lot of the time it's someone will come to them and say, here is money for this purpose, and you are obliged, you have to use it for that purpose. And then we've done some kind of training and CPD on it recently, and we're going through loads of these different aspects. A lot of people were questioning and during the CPD. Obviously we work in it, so we generally have a good idea, but these people coming into it, little rules like, if restricted funds aren't used, you can't just then go, hey, free money, let's spend it on another project.
No.
You've got to go back and either offer refunds or get confirmation that they're okay for it to be used elsewhere. All these little things that people just maybe don't know. So I mean, how did you find that coming into the organisation and learning about all the restricted funds and everything coming from more of a sort of private industry?
To be honest, I mean, I found all of it interesting. I found it all very much, because I've come into a company that's 15 years this year. So the information was there. I could learn from previous information, and I could be guided by Odette because she lived and breathed it. And then I could call on yourselves. I had training from other team members that had also supported, as well as our current accountant as well. So our current accountant that we're working with, she long term will be leaving us, so that I did come into that role with the aspect that I would be taking on it fully, and we were going to make a decision as to like where we go next. So I've pretty much had an open mind of, right, let me learn everything, and then as we develop and we grow and need to do something new, I'll go into that with some training aspect. So Odette has always been one that if you find a training aspect or we find a gap in your understanding, let's find a training course for it. Let's invest in and develop your skills and your knowledge, that we then get the best outcome for Harry's Rainbow. And I think that's key. As soon as I came on board and I saw the amount of training that we had within our induction, it was great to see a CEO invest in their people, because if you're not invested in, how can you go out in your best kind of attempt and sell Harry's Rainbow? Because you've got to have that passion of the company. That's
exactly why we love working with charities, because it's not just a mission to make money. You know, the people that run charities generally are, I mean, we say it, they're a different breed, right?
They're lovely people,
they're
aren't they?
amazing.
And there's lots of other people in the private sector too.
There is.
I just think our heart goes that way. I think the way we are, I've worked in charities for over 20 years, and then Travis has come on board, and it was my speciality, but Travis is warming towards that sector, and he gets it. He understands charity finances, which is a big part of it. A lot of people just don't understand it, and you're getting it, and you just enjoy that sector now, haven't you?
Just the people you work with. I mean, it shows, you know, not only is she's Odette, we always say that she's a force to be reckoned with, and she really is.
She's a rocket.
She's set up this amazing CIO which supports so many bereaved children. She then looks internally and she supports her staff through training and development and getting everything about the organisation that's been set up as Harry's Rainbow, and a lot of other charities are the same. It's not just for one singular mission. There's so many other little goals and projects and things going on at any given time that they're just, I mean, again, this is why we love working with you, people like you, because it's nice to know that every conversation isn't always around profit. Although
what's nice is you invest in the right people. When you're doing a charity, you get the right people and you invest in their training and they become your asset. So important. You know, just employing professionals don't always work for your organisation.
No, and I mean the biggest thing of starting with Harry's Rainbow, and you'll advocate for this, is the networking and support. So we're a community, and just being a part of the networking that I met you at, Lorraine, the Women in Enterprise, it's meeting other like-minded people. And yes, you meet people from businesses, but they want to be involved in the community. They want to kind of bring it back. So I think everyone also is just willing to support each other and share those skill sets, which I find is great. It reinforces what we're doing. So although we're supporting a small part of the community, everyone around that wants to be involved, and it does cover things from fundraising to families to our flows, and in schools we've got our ELDO, our education liaison officer. It's just an outreach as to how many more people, where else can we support.
Well, I think that's a good point. If we've obviously last year being focusing on fundraising and getting the name out there, followed by this year of the end goal of getting outreach to the people affected. I mean, what have you learned in your roles about, you know, getting out, meeting people and getting your name out? Like what sort of challenges and kind of wins have you had there that you'd potentially like to say to any new charities or existing charities out there?
I think the biggest challenge I've noticed is that Adet did a great job of getting everyone to know the name Harry's Rainbow, but the challenge was, what do we actually do, and getting people to register. But the positives are that Milton Keynes is just a really, really wonderful community, and like you said, people want to get involved, they want to help. How little, how big, it doesn't matter, and that's been amazing. And I've worked for a lot of charities in lots of different parts of the world, and I've got to say Milton Keynes is a very special place. Like, they really hold Harry's Rainbow close to their heart, which means a lot.
I think it is a very community orientated
very
city.
Much. Yeah,
it is, you know,
very
people,
much.
People
very
love
unusual
it,
for a city.
Yeah. But it's such a it's so big, but also feels so small.
Yes.
The fact that everyone is so focused on the
absolutely
on the community. I mean, I always see you at events, Allison. I mean, you are. I don't know where you find
if
the time.
If there's a party, I'll be there.
Yeah. But I mean, how do you find managing that between obviously working in the organisation and getting out there? I mean, surely you can't be in two places at once. So I mean,
no.
how do you do it?
Well, I must admit that has been a big challenge for me, and I'm trying to say no more, but I do struggle with that. But that is one of the reasons why Dominique came in, so that I can then do my job and not have to sit there pulling reports for Just Giving or chase receipts or count money that's come in. So that's allowed me to have the time to then be able to go and do lunch and learns with corporates, go and do talks at community events, do podcasts with people like yourself, put on more events to help us raise these funds. So
that's had a really positive impact then, being able to separate that, because that's always something that we say to people is, you want to focus on what you're good at. Right, and I must say, Alison, I've said this a few times this podcast, I think you are very good at what you do, at getting out awareness and getting donations in and things like that. So it just shows the importance that when we say these bits of advice to people, it's not just kind of off the cusp comments, that there is truth behind it, that if you can do what you're good at and free up your time of doing things that you're not so interested or good at.
No, but that is true. I'm not. Like, I was never good at maths at school. It was such a struggle for me.
It's a good time to say neither was I.
Yeah. Oh no. No, but also I think when you're doing any job, if you're doing you're passionate about it and you're doing what you're good at and you enjoy, you're going to excel. Whereas sitting at my desk trying to work out the numbers just drains me.
It takes you a lot longer, and it's such an important role that when you are starting out, you need to make sure they're working for you. You need to get some advice or support very early on, rather than leave it too late.
Yes.
And get into a difficult situation.
I would agree. The earlier on you get it, because if you're recording it right and you're recording it in a way that an accountant can then review that and put it together and put it into when you've got to report it to HMRC or Companies House, it's done correctly, because it's a hard job to go back through months and months of work, and if you haven't had your eye over it, someone else doesn't understand it because they've not lived and breathed it. So if you said to me, there's an Amazon receipt here, there's a Morrison's and there's something else, I kind of tend to know what happened in that month. But that's not just me, that's everyone in the business. Like, you know what events, you know there's been Question of Sport or our Festival of Running or Colour Run coming up. We just, because you're in it, you're in the thick of it, whereas I think someone else reviewing it, they need that support, they need that understanding that there is someone that knows what's going on.
I think,
and that's the important thing, is being open with your team, not being controlling and holding all finances to yourself. You know, at any point, one of us could not be here the next day. You need somebody else to pick it up, and that is so important in any organisation, to be open, share the information, share the workload as well, you know, rather than it all being on top of you, and that's just a really key point to take forward.
Absolutely.
I think we could talk forever and a day.
I
know, this is our longest podcast.
I must just say that we do have to thank our volunteers as well.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Without our volunteers, even from our office support volunteers to our events, to our families.
And our runners.
And everyone that joins in all of our events. Without you guys, we probably wouldn't be able to do some of the stuff that we do.
Well, we wouldn't exist because we are mainly led by volunteers. So like our groups, you know, we have one family liaison officer who's there and manages it, but I don't know how many volunteers are there to help them actually run it, and we wouldn't be able to afford to pay for them basically. So that's a really good shout out
to our
really good shout out there.
So what have you got coming up now in the next month then?
If people want to get involved, how are they getting involved?
Oh, well, we do have a really exciting event on the 14th of May. It's our fire walk. I think, you guys are taking part in that, aren't you, as well?
Oh, I don't know if we are,
Chris, are you interested?
Do it.
Yeah!
I'll get signed up this afternoon.
I did it last year. It's been sponsored by the Holiday Inn Central Milton Keynes. And it's taken place in Linford Wood, right outside our offices. We've got the lovely Woodside Cafe who are going to provide the food and beverage. You guys have been there before, you know they do really nice food there. And it's great. I mean, anyone who's worried about doing it, I would say you really don't need to be. I think I walked over it 5 times last year. That's how easy it is. So I shouldn't say easy.
I've not done it. I'm being persuaded into doing it. But I've heard that it's really empowering.
It's
really
very empowering.
Kind of a huge morale boost but I'm not convinced myself. I will.
But you have to try it before you know.
You have to try it.
A good ethos I had would try it first, then tell me if you don't like it or not after.
So all I would say is, if you can be a brave soul.
Yes.
Excuse the pun. A walk over hot coals for bereaved children. You just need to head to our website. That's harrysrainbow.co.uk, and go to our events page. Click on the fire walk, and there's a link to register there. It's £10, but that literally covers the cost of your t-shirt. And then we're only asking for a minimum sponsorship of £50. So that's 5 friends, really, isn't it? And it's a great atmosphere. So please sign up. Come and join us.
I'll get signed up this afternoon. We'll get in
Yay! I knew I'd get you signed up. The 3 of you.
Yeah. I make her do some crazy things, I tell you.
I know, Chris.
You'll love it.
I didn't agree to a 10k run, so be careful.
Yeah. She's doing half marathon next year. On the podcast now, there's proof.
Yeah. You've just got to keep pushing yourself.
We might go quiet on the event front for the next month. We have got a hefty workload.
Yeah.
So we've cleared
one
up.
One of us has a hefty workload. One of us is off to Morocco for 9 days.
That's the real reason for not going to any events.
Yeah, so I've cleared his diary so he can get on with everything next month.
Brilliant.
I'll have a nice tan for the next podcast. So I'll work my
for the firewalk.
For other small charities, big charities, people wanting to get into the charitable sector, any kind of sign-off messages that you'd like to give them?
Follow your heart.
This one's over to you, Dominique.
I would say anyone setting up, do it, because it might be hard work, but it will be so rewarding, and you will get the passion of everyone around you, because I think everyone does want to support genuinely. And if you're currently recruiting, or you're making a choice or a decision between how do you recruit, go with your gut. And if it's the right person but just not the right qualifications, give them a chance. I mean, the amount of people that have given me a chance, coming out of childcare into a corporate office management, and then Odette giving me a chance in office and finance, you'll be surprised how much you invest in people and how much they then want to give back.
Yeah,
talk to as many people, get professional advice, just talk to as many
Yeah.
people, pick their brains.
Yeah.
And see
No
what
question is a silly question, and I actually put that in an email to MK College, and I said sorry for asking a stupid question, and the response back was no question is a silly
we can
question.
say the same. We'd rather you keep asking us
Yeah.
and get it right than us try and pick the pieces up at the end or anything. But no question is silly to us at all. So
that's it. I think if anyone is out in any of the situations, new charity, existing charity that potentially is that finance, get a bit ahead of them. Just want to make you aware that obviously we're also here to help. You can find us at
Highly recommend them.
Definitely.
Thank you very
Happy
much.
days.
funny buyer.
Yeah.
I might be buying the wings after, mightn't it? Didn't it? So thank you so much for coming along today. It's heartwarming to us because we do this. We speak about it in our podcast, but to bring it to real life with you guys and share it, we talk forever every time we see each other.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. It's been great.
Thank you so much, and thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you on the next episode of Mum and Son on the Money.